So, for my mini self-experiment, what I have done is I've taken the game League of Legends and decided to do an experiment on it. So this is entitled an experiment on the effectiveness of text chat versus voice chat in gaming. So let's get right into it. So the purpose of my presentation was to essentially compare and contrast the use of voice chat versus text chat in an online competitive gaming environment to just to see which is gives you a better overall experience, not just in the game, but also just an overall experience between your teammates in terms of a cooperative and conversational level, so that you know, have a good time essentially, because that's it's all about gaming's about. So my learning objectives first was to determine if voice chat causes less trolling in games compared to text chat. League of Legends is notorious for being what they call a toxic game, kind of. They talk about this actually in the text about how internet trolls can be a thing in terms of less anonymity due to that. So I wanted to experiment with that. I also want to determine if people are more willing to communicate effectively through voice than over text. So when people are in voice chat, if they actually want to communicate and cooperate with each other, if they're going to do it more during voice, or maybe they're going to get quiet and they would actually prefer to do it over text kind of thing. So that's one thing I wanted to determine, which was going to be more effective. I also want to determine if the added emotional context and tone of voice helps communication between teammates. So, obviously when you're texting, you don't get that emotion behind it. It's hard to see that. And you don't get that tone of voice, so you don't know really what the other person is feeling when you're doing it. So I just wanted to see if in the voice, if that helped the communication. And I also want to determine if the added feedback of the instant communication helps facilitate discussion and cooperation in games. So, like, if because I can get the feedback right away, like constantly be talking to someone, like whether it helps facilitate that discussion instead of having to wait for the text to come through, kind of thing. So yeah. So the two theories they talk about in the text about this is the media richness theory for one. So the richness of communication is based on the amount of feedback the communicator can receive. So this is what I was talking about, where um, because it's instantaneous, I can receive more feedback on whether something was good, whether something is bad, kind of thing. So that was one of the main theories behind it. And you go deeper, the more instantaneous, the better it is. Another one is the cues filtered out theory. So emotional expression is just to talk about emotional expression is severely restricted when we only use text, because again, you don't get one of the things they talk about is that you don't get the face-to-face kind of thing. You can't read a person's face. Well, this doesn't add that, but this does still, because you can hear their voice, you can understand their tone, you can understand the emotion behind what they're saying, whether they're angry, whether they're sad, whether they're frustrated, happy, that kind of thing. You don't get that over text, so I wanted to see, how that helped, if it did at all. So how I did this, first what I did, so I played games using the text chat function in the game. There's only text chat in the game, and which is what normally people use. So, and I observed of how well we communicate and how well that translated to in-game success, and not just that, but also just overall experience in gaming, whether it was more enjoyable, less enjoyable, kind of thing. So I did that. I played games in that. But then what I did next is I played games using Discord, where at the start of the game I would invite everyone in my team. I would say, "Hey guys, you want to join my Discord?" And we can actually talk. Um, guys wouldn't always do this, but when it did work, then it people joined, and that's how I did it. Um, so yeah, and then so from there, I just kind of observed how we communicated, how well we went into the game, how everything went, that kind of thing. Just how overall what kind of time everyone had. Um, so it was interesting. So basically, how it turned out was, I got some voice games in, I got lots of text games in. So in the text games, it was fairly typical of a regular League of Legends game. There's varying degrees of trolling, people not cooperating, you know, people screwing the game around, maybe some toxic things in chat, kind of the usual stuff. Um, some games you would get guys, trying to coordinate with each other, like, hey, we should go do this objective right now. This would really help. You get some of that. Um, if there was emotion that you could maybe make through text, it was usually anger directed towards teammates, about like, they screwed up this play or something. So it was, a lot of that. It wasn't, a lot of, there was sometimes, it was like, you get a good job in chat, but, not a lot of that, a bit. But then what I found is that when we went over to voice, the people who did join the Discord and wanted to participate, there was almost no trolling. Like most people who were in the voice, they wanted to just play a game and have a good time, meet some new friends. So there was almost no trolling. There was lots of cooperation. Everyone wanted to. People were constantly calling things out. People were constantly coordinating efforts. So that really helped. Also, the addition of emotion to communication led to better understanding of team callouts because I could understand the emotion behind what they were saying. Like if someone told me, someone texted me in the chat saying, hey, you screwed up this play, what the hell? Sometimes I'll, get a little mad, get a little, defensive. But in this, I could, I could see in the motion that he's just trying to help. He wasn't angry or anything. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, sorry, maybe I'll fix that next time. And then it was all good. So that helped. And then the feedback from teammates, it just helped to foster a better environment for cooperation. So, when things happen right away, you could talk about it right away and deal with it right away. So that really helped just the overall environment of the game, and just overall of how well essentially the game went. So in terms of what I learned that less anonymity led to less trolling. See, so in Discord we were still anonymous, we still didn't know each other, but we could hear each other's voice, and we talked at the start of the game, we kind of, hey, how's it going, that kind of thing. And so it led to less trolling because people, when you're in that kind of environment, people didn't want to troll, people just wanted to have a good time. And then when there was less delay between interactions, it led to more feeling a connection. So, because it happened right away, then we're talking back and forth. It actually led to a connection. But when you're just texting with someone anonymously over it, it's hard to really gain a connection with these people. There's always sometimes it can happen, but not much. And then, as I talked about earlier, teammates they responded better to criticism through voice than over text because, again, there wasn't that oh, is he mad at me? Oh, is he just trying to be mean or something? It's like, no, he's just he's just trying to help out. He's just trying to win the game, kind of thing. That's all it is. There was nothing deeper than that. Everyone's just kind of having a good time. And then I learned that tone is incredibly important when communicating properly because, again, you understand what they're saying better because you understand that tone behind it. You understand that, when he said, hey, you overextended there and you cost us this objective. I could be like, hey, well, I understand what he was saying because he wasn't aggressive about it. It was like, hey, man, try to fix that next time. I was like, yeah, sure, okay, I can do that. I can work on that. So it really helped in a competitive environment because we all wanted to win. There was no, pointing fingers or anything. So in summary, the voice chat allowed for better communication between teammates due to the greater immediacy of responses, available feedback to the users. There was less anonymity before the teammates, and then the ability to discern tone during conversation helped and added emotion in the conversation so that you kind of really get a feel for these people when you're playing with them. You kind of, who's there just have a good time. Who's there, it's like, hey, this is a really chill guy. He's fun to play with. I'd like to play with him. I'd like to play with him more. And actually, some of the guys I talked to on it, I ended up putting him on a friends list, and now we play games together all the time. So it was a really good experience. So in closing, while initially I wasn't too sure about using voice chat because I was worried people were just gonna, troll in there, just join the chat and just be mean or something. But after the careful assessment of the two, actually, the use of voice chat led to just overall better gaming experience. I got to make some friends. I really got to get to know the people. I got to talk to them. I got to know new people. It was just overall a lot of fun, and the added cooperation and conversation between teammates just really added a lot and just made it overall a good time. And it just it was just a lot of fun doing this experiment. So yeah, thank you.